Alright, so as soon as I saw the trailer to this film, this was easily my most anticipated film of the year. Did it live up to the expectation? Not really. I'd say half of the movie did, but half of it didn't. So my big problem with this film is that we're kind of bamboozled when it came to the trailer. It just looked like it was going to be this fucking action-packed, just shooting, literally a civil war the entire film. But you only get that for about, I'd say, 30 odd minutes. The main focus of this film is the journalists. Kirsten Dunst's character, a Mexican dude from Narcos, or the Spanish dude, whatever he is. And then this girl, I haven't seen her. I think this might be a first time performance, but she stole the show. And also that guy that always seems to play like the wise man in all of his movies. But the movie is centered around those journalists, and they're traveling from, I forget where, one city to Washington, and it's like 900 miles. And you're following them on their journey. And they do run into like little fights. They run into their big problems. The guy from Breaking Bad, that scene is mental. But it's not until the last 30 minutes of the film that I got the film that I wanted for the entire thing. The last 30 minutes is action-packed, just fucking pure mayhem. So the Western forces, which is basically the whole of America against Washington, like the president's forces, they're going against each other, and it's pure gunfire. There's no music in the background, it's just pure gunshots. And the theater we were in was so loud, and the effects were amazing. The sound was fantastic. It felt like I was in there with them. You could definitely tell the budget was on the lower end, because in these scenes, you never actually see people get shot. You just see the footage of the shooting and things blowing up, but you'll never see people getting shot close up, if that makes sense. And I just want to point out the music in here. I think this might be the worst choice of music for the tone that they're going for in this film of all time. The music choices in this film took me out like 3 or 4 times. It was utter ridiculousness. They're trying to set up this really dark sort of tone, because at the end of the day, a whole country is fucking going at it and they're killing each other. But then this upbeat, fucking weird music starts playing. There was only one instance where I thought it actually suited the tone of what was happening at the time. But throughout the first, I'd say 45 minutes, there's 2 or 3 times they do this, and it just took me out of the film completely. I understand that maybe they were trying to paint the picture like, yes, it's so dark here, but this music, it's trying to point out the ridiculousness of the situation, that the whole country is fighting with each other maybe. I don't know. But for me, for the tone of the film, it just took me out completely. So although I didn't get the film that I thought I was going to throughout the entire thing, the characters in here and the story in here is written and set up well enough where I was interested throughout the whole film. I was never bored. The story they were trying to tell, I got it. I appreciated it. Didn't expect it. Obviously expected something else. I didn't expect them to dive this deep into this story. Essentially, Mary Jane takes the girl in this film under her wing. She wants to be a war photographer, and Mary Jane's got experience in that. So she takes her under her wing and teaches her about, you can't think in the moment. You just got to take the picture, no matter how dire the situation is. And that story sort of comes full circle in the last couple of minutes of the film. Don't want to spoil anything, but I think they did that well. But I think the stories and the characters were all good enough for me. The performances were great. Really couldn't pick out a bad one. The only thing that really bugged me when it came to these characters in this story, when they're in like literally war-torn areas, there's fucking hundreds of soldiers shooting at each other. There's tanks going off, shit blowing up. These photographers, especially the little girl, they're just running out like in front of this gunfire, fucking near these explosions like it's nothing. You've got the soldiers like ripping them back and putting them behind cover because they're literally stepping out into live gunfire. But at the beginning of the film, this young girl's got like little to no experience of being in these areas and being around all this gunfire and shit. I think the road trip's like a day max. And by the end of the day, she is fearless. She can literally run out into live gunfire, explosions, tanks going off like she's playing fucking paintball. But again, I'm just kind of bummed that the whole film wasn't like the last 30 minutes. It was just pure mayhem, and it was so much fun to watch. So at the end of the day, my most anticipated film of the year, it wasn't a letdown, but I wasn't super happy leaving the theater either. I was satisfied, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. So I'm gonna give this film a 6.5 out of 10. I reckon if I went into this film not as excited as I was, not knowing what I did about the trailer, not having these pre-assumptions about the film, maybe I would have loved it a lot more. But for me, it was a good time. It was okay. I'm definitely gonna buy it when it comes out, but I don't know, it's one of these films I'd have to see again and then maybe give my opinion again. But for me, for now, that's my opinion. So if you've seen the film, let me know what you think, and thanks always for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.